We've got Mo Vaughn on the phone, and we got a lot to cover. Thanks for calling in, Mo. How are you?
Good, good. How you doing? Everything's all right.
I'm doing well. Hey, we're talking a lot about opening day today, Mo, and you had a lot of them. Tell me about how important was it for you on opening day to get your first hit, to get those zeros off the board, and to get the first win for your team?
Well, you know, that's really, really important because for me, I was batting in the middle. The years that I was up in Boston, I was batting in the middle of the lineup. High impact, high pressure situation, which I always thought made me a better player. But you always want to get that first hit. You want to get that first home run. There's a lot of things that are going through your mind. You're jumping, for me, I was jumping from 75, 80 degrees into weather that really wasn't conducive to hitting. But you need to get off to a solid start. You want to really have your hits at the 200 at bat mark, because if you have your hit to the 200 at bat mark, your average is really not going to move that much. It's when you get that 200 at bat mark and you don't really have your hits, that it's hard to get back on top, for the rest of the season. So you really got to try to concentrate. Even though it's cold, it's this, it's that. You got some elements, but it's tough to get off. It's very important to get off to a good start, because your average is really not going to move after that 200 AB mark.
Yeah, we'd follow you. We agree with you, Mo. What we would do after opening day, if we won the game, we'd go into the clubhouse and say, hey, we just set the tone. What a great job, guys. And when we lost opening day, we'd walk in and say, hey, it's one game. It doesn't matter. We were off our routine. We'll go get them tomorrow. So either way, we were totally covered. Mo, I want to talk about your career. You played for 3 teams, and each of your teams had a pretty interesting offseason. Let's start, obviously, with the Red Sox. They are the defending World Series champions. Tell me, why has no team been able to defend his championship since the 98 to 2000 Yankees?
I think it's very, very hard. It takes. I've never been to the World Series. I've never been that far. But I've, been to the playoffs before, and I just think it takes a tremendous amount of concentration to do that. You look at that Yankee team in '98; they were just so power packed. It was going to be tough to beat them anyway. But that Blue Jays team, '92, '93, did the same thing. But it's hard to do because you have to concentrate and focus. Everything's got to go right. No injuries. No pitching injuries. 8 guys pretty much playing consistently all year long, and without missing a lot of time. A lot of times teams don't go bad because they're bad. Teams don't make it because they have injuries. And the Red Sox. I don't know how many times they had their same lineup out there, but you had that outfield. You had the DH. JD was consistent, so they had their core personnel. Basically with no injuries, and that's how you win.
Well, I want to focus you actually on the fact they brought back their entire team but Kimbrel. And when we won the World Series in '03, we didn't bring back Pudge, and we tried to figure out a way to replace him and D. Lee, and it's hard. The Red Sox went the other way. They brought everyone back. I'm looking at Mookie Betts. He wins the MVP. May not have even been the best player on his team if you look at JD, and I know you appreciate the season he had. But let's talk about Betts' MVP. You won the MVP in '95. Tell me, when you're trying to repeat his MVP, how quickly did you feel that pressure? How hard is that to defend?
Let me tell you, when I won the MVP, it was like it validated, myself in my mind. From that day on, I walked onto the field like I can handle any situation. So I actually went out and had a better year the next year after winning it. It's just something about, you get ready to hold that badge. Everybody, always talks, Albert Bell outplayed me, he had 50 home runs, 50 doubles. But the bottom line and the positions we're in, you got to drive in runs. If you look at our baseball cards, we both drove in 126 runs that year. So for me, it really took it kind of just validated me in my brain that, yeah, man, I'm at the top of this game and I can play with all these guys, and And when I walked into the ballpark, I stepped on the field, I had that confidence consistently after that.
Well, you may want to call Mookie because he's going to want to try to defend his title because I think for the Red Sox to repeat, they're going to need Chris Sale to do better than he did last night, and they're going to need Mookie to have as good a season as he had. Then you move on. Let's move on. Anaheim. They made news this offseason. I hate to say it, talking to some of the older players, $430 million. But guess what Mike Trout has never done? Won a playoff game. Not even one. Tell me about your thoughts on Anaheim, the signing of Mike Trout, and whether you think that Trout can lead the Angels to a piece of jewelry.
I really like Mike Trout. I think I like, Manny Machado. I like Bryce Harper. But I really, really like Mike Trout. This guy comes to play and plays hard every single day. And I think, it's not easy. Being a GM is not easy. Running a company and running an organization is not easy. You got to get the players, and you got to get things to match, and then you got to gel as a team. I hope this guy deserves a chance to be in the playoffs, but he can't do it himself. But one thing you know about Mike Trout, he's going to show up and play hard and do everything on the field to win a ball game. He's going to run. He's going to throw. He's going to throw people out. He's going to defend. He's going to jump over the wall. He's going to hit home run. He's going to take the extra base. That guy is going to do everything necessary every game to win. And I have no problems with him signing for $420-$30 million. I think he deserves it.
I do, Mo. Remember, I was on the other side. He does deserve it, but I'd like to see him. We called him an 8-tool player, not just a 5-tool. He's the best in the game. I'm happy for him, but I think that he needs to lead that team to a playoff win or two. And I was thinking back to watching you play, Mo, and you gave me indigestion. And I was thinking about some of these MLB rule changes, and I'm going back and thinking about you. And when you're hitting, and I want you to think about two changes especially and your view and how they would impact you. They're saying that pitchers would have to face a minimum of 3 hitters. That's an impact to a lefty. And they're talking about banning the infield shift. Let's focus on those two and your view of how those would impact you, your career, and what you think of them.
Listen, I didn't really worry about the shift. I inside out of the ball, I hit the ball all over the ballpark, so the shift didn't have anything. I hit the ball the other way just as well I hit the ball as I pulled it. So they need to ban that shift anyway. You know what I mean? You go out there, you got guys playing way out of position. Playing straight up. You want to move, 10 feet either way or, have one infielder move, that's fine. But, you have guys that are left-handed hitters that are smoking the ball in the hole or smoking the ball up the middle, and the guy's standing there. And I think, I just don't think it's good for the game. In terms of pitchers, whatever disadvantage they have, I'm all for it because that's just the way it is. I want all the advantage offensively, and I'm going to take advantage of it offensively. So whatever advantages they give the batter, I am 100% with it.
Well, I'd like to go back early in my career, Mo, and I'd like to make sure that there's a shift on because I know that you would have hit right into it only one time, and then we would have had to cancel it because you would have realized that going the other way would have worked just fine because you recognize getting on base matters and scoring runs matters. Hey, Mo, I really do appreciate your time. Thanks so much for calling in.
All right, good luck.